What's up, everybody? My name is Parasite. Welcome back to Rebuilding Everton. Today we have two more games in the Championship, games against Crystal Palace and Sunderland, two historically Premier League caliber squads who are struggling down in the Championship. Crystal Palace are doing decently well. They're in 7th. Sunderland, not so much. They are in, where are they at? They've actually jumped up a lot since I last saw them. They're currently in 11th. They were in the bottom half of the table not very long ago, so they must have had a couple good performances recently. Yeah, they had 2 wins and a draw in their last 3 games. Pretty easy games, though, against Tranmere and Plymouth. They're 2 of the worst teams in the league, so they've got a little bit lucky there. So they might be a little bit more difficult than I thought, but in terms of how we've been doing, so-so. We played 3 games. We played against Middlesbrough first. We beat them pretty comfortably. We're up 2-0, then they got a goal about the 80th minute to bring one back, but we looked like the better team that game. We looked like the much better team. We weren't amazing. We obviously didn't have a whole lot of players that played very well, but a lot of average performances. But Balo started this game, and he was good. And I thought he was going to be the nailed-on starter going forward. But between this game and the Bristol City game, he got injured. He broke his ribs, so he's out for like another 3 weeks. So Walken Jones has to be our starter. We have no other options. So he's our starter, and he actually played well in the next game against Bristol City. He got a goal in the extra time of first half. We actually got 2 goals in the extra time of first half. 45th plus 1 and a 45th plus 3 minute goal from Walken Jones and Miniconi. But it seems like if Jones can only score the simple chances, like we played Reading, and we absolutely throttled them. Like, we should have won 3-0, 4-0. It wasn't even close. But Walken Jones can't score slightly difficult chances. 22 shots to their 7. Only 9 shots on target from 22 shots is pretty pathetic, by the way. But we should have absolutely destroyed this team. When you have 22 shots, there's nothing else I can do. I'm helping create a bunch of shot opportunities. I'm telling them to work the ball into the box. There's literally nothing I can do if the strikers are just absolutely terrible. And that's what Walken Jones is. He's a terrible striker. Just for proof, if we go to his stats, he has an 8.75 XG, but 5 goals. That is awful. That is absolutely awful. To be 3 goals, almost 4 goals under your XG, that means you are only scoring the most simple of chances. Any chance that is slightly difficult, he misses. He misses most one-on-ones. Like, even what would be an easy one-on-one is pretty hard for him. He needs an open goal. He can score open goals very easily. But you give him anything else and he struggles. If we get promoted to the Premier League, we have to get a new striker because he will get us relegated. He is such a bad striker, he will get us relegated. So we have to find a new striker next season. Walken Jones is an okay backup, but that's all he'll ever be. He'll never be a starting caliber player for probably even the Championship. Like, I don't think he's starter quality. He just misses so many easy chances. 6 goals and 16 appearances is not good. It's very not good. Almost 1 in 3. So, this is what a clinical striker looks like. Let's look at Alexander Douglas. He has a 5 XG and 7 goals. That's more like what a striker should look like. He should be scoring more goals than his XG. He should be scoring difficult chances. That's what Alexander Douglas does. He scores about most of the chances he gets. He gets a good look, he scores it. Kai is not that kind of player. Let's look at Miniconi. He's also a pretty good goal scorer. He actually is scoring way above his XG. 2.56 XG and 5 goals. Yeah, Miniconi is a good player. Then let's look at Balo. He hasn't played a whole lot of games, but he's played 2 starts, 3 sub appearances. He has 0.6 XG, 2 goals. Everyone on this team is clinical except for our main striker, who is the least clinical player I've maybe ever used in this game. So there's an issue there. Let's even look at Zigovic, a midfielder. Surely he can't be way above his XG. He's right at his XG, 2.18 XG, 2 goals. For a midfielder, that's fine. But, yeah, Kai Walken Jones, just not good enough. I might need a new one in January if we're going to win the league. We might need a new striker. So we've got a lot of money still. We've got 60 million. So we've got enough if we find one. I found one guy. I think did I add him to the short list? I think I did. Strikers. Yes, I did. Milan Vidovic. He's pretty dang good. He's 6'7", 20 years old. Good dribbling, great composure, pretty good physicals. Not absurd pace and acceleration, but for a guy that's 6'7", that's pretty good. Only 14 finishing, but only 10 passing. That's the one thing I'm really worried about with Vidovic, is the 10 passing. If that was like 13, I would be all over this guy. All over him. He would be so good, but only 10 passing. A little bit questionable. 16 off the ball, though, is pretty good. So he's an option. He doesn't have the most potential. Like, he might be playing at his potential right now. If anything, he has a little bit more, but he is known as a consistent performer. So that's really good. So he might be coming in, unless I can find another striker. I'm currently looking for, I'm actually looking for left backs. I might change to look for strikers because we need one. I think more than we need a left back, because Arias has actually been really good. He's been pretty good. Let's not give him too much credit. He's been pretty good. So he's been better than freaking Michael Anderson, who I don't even want to talk about. The reason that Reading won that game is because Michael Anderson cried for like a week about not getting enough game time. Even though he said, my career is stagnating. You're 30. Your career is basically over. You are just getting a paycheck now. That's all you're doing. You're lucky to be a championship caliber backup. So he's crying. So I finally gave him a game because I thought Reading should be an easy game. They weren't very good. And he immediately gives away a penalty. Just immediately in the first 10 minutes. So he's never going to see the field again unless I have no other options. Like, I'd rather play Ross Jack Monroe there as an inverted wing back, than play Michael Anderson. He is just awful. So yeah, that's what's going on with this save. Well, we've got Crystal Palace first. This is the squad I'm going to go with. I think this is currently our strongest squad. Lesniak is still out. I accidentally forgot to filter players not at club. I was looking at our backup left back options. Kieran, I can't remember his last name. Kieran is coming back in January, so I think I'll be selling Michael Anderson. He wants to leave. He's not good enough to be a locker room disturbance. Like Zigovic, he wants to leave too, but he's good, so I'm okay with him being a little bit of a disturbance. Anderson is not good enough. I want him out of this team as soon as possible. But in terms of injuries, Lesniak's still injured. Balo's injured. So I've brought in Joe Gray, who's an under-18 striker who looks pretty dang good for 17 years old. He looks like he could definitely have a future. Again, his passing's a little bit low. Only 6 vision. Only 11 off the ball. 11 decisions. 11 anticipation. So he's got some areas that aren't great. But 15 finishing. Pretty good physical attributes for a 17-year-old. He looks promising. I think he's our third best option at striker because Diamikis is just absolutely awful. Those physicals you can't be successful with those physicals in a top league. So he's never going to play for me if I can keep from it. But this is the squad I'm going with. Let's get into the game. Let's see if we can beat Crystal Palace. I'm going to say the media have given you a lot of credit lately, so go out there and put on a worthy display. I meant to mention how what's his name? Diop. I meant to mention how Diop has been absolutely awful recently. He's currently on a 6.6 in his last 5. He has been the worst player on this team. And he's not even unhappy. I don't understand why he's so bad. Like, I feel like I'm playing him in a good role. His best role is deep line playmaker, but deep line playmakers never get good ratings. There's Walken Jones doing good things and then missing easy chances. That is Walken Jones to a T. He's great at intercepting the passes, back passes. He intercepts so many of those, but he never scores them. He intercepts them just so he can shoot it wide or hit it right at the goalkeeper. He's the least clinical player I've ever seen in this game. And he heads it over because it's Walken Jones. He's not going to put that on target. I think he's scored 1 corner so far, which is okay. But for a guy he's decent physically. Pretty decent in the air. It's probably our second best option. That's why I have him there. So he goes for another one and hits the crossbar. Yeah, Walken Jones is just a broken player. He's just, I don't know why, some players just never play up to their ratings. And he is definitely one of those players. He has 17 finishing, but he has the worst finishing I've ever seen. Like, to have 17 finishing and miss all those chances is difficult. I don't know how he does it. Because he has good composure. Composure's not an issue. He just sucks. And we have dominated this game, but of course, I don't know how he has a 7, because we have 11 shots and 0 goals. We have 1 XG, and yet Watkin Jones still has not scored a goal. He is our main goal scorer. He is at fault if we're not scoring goals. I'm not happy. Just not good enough. Not good enough in front of goal at all. We have dominated them defensively. Like, they have 1 shot, 0.1 XG, and that's it. We have absolutely handled them at that end, but going forward, we are just... Goal scoring is a serious problem for this team. If Alexander Douglas or Miniconi aren't scoring, no one's scoring. This is probably going to be a goal. He puts it wide. That's surprising. Douglas is pretty clinical, so to see him put it wide there is surprising. It's really unfortunate because we really needed that to be a goal. They've gone to our 5-1-2-2. I need to go to the 4-2-3-1. I need to be more attacking. I need to change who's going there. Who's better at attacking mid? Do I take off one of these midfielders? Diop has been awful again. He's coming off. Laru's coming on. Ferrer at center mid defend. Zigovic at box to box. Yeah, that's what we're going with. I don't know why Diop sucks so bad, but he is just an awful player. I'm probably going to... I'm hoping I get a $95 million offer for him, because we would be absolutely stealing money. Absolutely stealing. He's a terrible player. They have a goal kick here, but we're going to intercept it. Looking to go down our left-hand side with Zigovic and Miniconi. That's probably our best option, is going through those 2 players. They've been our best players this season. As Watkin Jones, of course, from an open goal. He literally had an open goal, and he hit the post. How? It is harder to miss than it is to score, and he finds a way to miss. That is how awful he is. He was literally in front of goal with no one ahead of him, and he missed a shot. Like, it's unbelievable how awful he is. I bought an absolutely awful player. I feel pretty bad, as he finally finds the back of the net. It takes him 15 golden opportunities, but he finally gets a goal. It has to be on a silver platter, and that's exactly what it was. Miniconi laying the ball on a silver platter, harder to miss than it is to score, and he can finally put it in the back of the net. Yeah, he had a lot of net to aim at there, so he actually was able to score it, but he's just far too bad. He has so many bad moments to so very few good moments that he can never be trusted as, and of course they score that. Of course they score that. Their, second shot of the game? I'm pretty sure that's like their second shot of the game, unless they've had a couple in the last couple minutes. They've had a couple. They're their 4th shot of the game. And it goes in, because of course it does. Zigovic is absolutely exhausted. I don't have anyone to bring in for him. I'm going to actually move Ferreira there and play McFarlane as a center mid on defend. Other than that, I think I'm going to take off Alexander Douglas. He's pretty tired. He hasn't done anything. Laru has not been... Luan Ferreira has actually been terrible. Bramon's been terrible. Veridiano's been terrible. I don't have enough midfielders to take off all our shit midfielders. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I guess I just bring on... I don't want to bring on Sal Quintero. He's not good. Alexander Douglas is more likely to score a goal than Saul. He's been okay. I'm not going to take him off. I just don't think I'm going to make any subs. I might take off Ramon. He's on a yellow. Bring in Monroe. Bring him as a central defender on... let's play you on cover, and let's play Sousa on defend. It's not going to help me score goals, but maybe it'll help me stop conceding a goal. If we can get a point, I'll take it. Watkin Jones specifically has been terrible. His 7.3 is a lie. That is the biggest lie I've ever seen, is Watkin Jones on a 7.3. This game obviously has no idea how to make ratings if they don't discredit him for missing the easiest of opportunities. Terrible game. That is not good enough. I'm going to thrash my arm and say, I expect to see you in training. You are not good enough. You are definitely not good enough. Diop was terrible. Olaru was terrible. They should be our two best players probably, and they were absolutely awful. $17 million is a terrible offer for Michael Anderson. I got an offer of like 34 earlier, but a lot of it was over like 50 appearances that he was never going to make. He's never going to make that many appearances for a team ever again because he's a terrible player. Give me like 35 million for him, and you can easily have him. I'll give him to anybody for probably 20. 18's not enough. 17's not enough. I need at least 20, 25, and I'll gladly throw him out the door. Farland, 5 appearances, making 20 appearances. So we have to pay Chelsea $900K. How has he only had 5? Did he just join? They just signed him for $6.75 million, and he's 34 years old. Maybe I'm starting to understand why Everton got relegated. They're spending $7 million on 34-year-old midfielders who have no physicals and no technicals. Interesting. I'll see you for the next match against Sunderland. Hopefully we can do a little bit better. I want Balo back. That's all I want. He's out for another 2 to 4 weeks. We need him back because he's the only one that can score goals for this team. Obviously, Watkins Jones just scored, but like I said, easy chance. Finally took one after missed 20 to score 1. So that's not good enough. And we are back for the Sunderland game. One piece of news. We did get a bid for Michael Anderson from Osasuna. Originally a $23.5 million bid, but I bid them up to $28 million, and I took that like no other. That sounds weird. But I just took that immediately because, yes, please, give us $28 million for Michael Anderson. He's 30 years old. He's not good. He's a locker room cancer. I don't want him in this team. So he's going to be going in the January. We'll be replacing him with guys already at the club. Is loaned out. Kieran Duffy, is that his name? Yeah, Kieran Duffy. He's a better left back than he is too, and he's Irish, so he's still not foreign. So he's a fine player. He can play right side too, or center back. So he's got plenty of versatility. He's going to be a much better player than Michael Anderson is, and he's only, how old is he? Only 21. So he's got some potential to him as well. So he's definitely going to be taking his spot once Michael Anderson goes. We have a couple guys out. Ramon is suspended for this game, so he has to come out, and Ross Jack Monroe comes in. And then Olaru has to come in for Zigrovic, who's a little bit tired. So Zigrovic is going to miss out on the start, but he's probably going to have to come in this game because both Olaru and Diop are terrible football players. And Lesniak is back, but he's only recommended 45 minutes. So he's probably going to come in for Luan Ferreira at some point because Luan Ferreira is also not a very good football player. So our midfield is absolutely awful today. Like, it's the worst starting midfield we could probably field. Literally the three players in the worst form in our midfield all at the same time. It's going to be a recipe for disaster. Or they could surprise me. We'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me. Let's hold out hope for that. Let's get into the game. See how we can do. I'm going to say we owe Sunderland after what happened in our last match. I guess we lost to them after last time, so that always gets a good response. Have faith. Everyone else is inspired or motivated, or they're very motivated to put in an average performance and probably win 1-0. That's my guess. We're going to put in a very average performance, miss 18 opportunities, clear-cut opportunities, and then win 1-0 thanks to a corner goal. If that happens, I'm a genius. That's just what from watching this team for good first half of the season, that's what I've gleaned from it, is that they're very good at doing that exact thing. Or they'll just not show up after they have one shot after 12 minutes. They almost scored, not from a corner, but from a set piece. But it hits the post, but Watkins Jones is offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. They're playing our 5-1-2-2, the formation we played with Manchester United. If you didn't watch that series, I suggest you go back and watch it. It was a very good series. Only lasted a couple seasons, but I really enjoyed it. So go and watch that one if you haven't already. That's the formation we played, the same formation Sunderland is currently playing, the 5-1-2-2, and it worked out very well for us. But we're with Everton now, And it's Miniconi losing the ball, but he wins it back. Veridiano has the ball down the right-hand side. He's going to beat his man. Try to put in a cross, but gets blocked. Diop with the ball now. As a Mazzala. Puts in for Veridiano. Into Walkin Jones. Into Olaru. And Olaru finds the back of the net. Marius Olaru gets his second goal of the season. A very good strike from Olaru. It's probably the best thing he's done all season. He scored one other goal, but I'm pretty sure it was a lot easier than that chance was. This one's basically from the edge of the box, right on the edge of the box. Puts it, curls it into the bottom right-hand corner. And a good finish. Walkin Jones gets the assist. Because he can do that. He's decent at getting assists. He just can't score easy chances. I'm going to pound that into the dirt until it comes, your ears start to bleed. That's just so frustrating. Having that player is just so frustrating. I'm going to say, don't get complacent out there. Veridiano is demotivated for whatever reason. Have faith. Doesn't matter. Most of the team is feeling good for it. Most of the team likes the team talk, so that's what matters most. Veridiano has a bruised thigh, but he should be fine. His stamina is still good. His fitness is still good. He should be fine. I'm worried about Miniconi because he seems to be made of glass. Get out of his face. Can he do that, ref? Ref, are you going to do something about that? There we go. Looking for Walkin Jones. Olaru steals the ball. Passes to Miniconi. Into Walkin Jones, but he's not going to get there. They're going to look to build from the back. They're actually going to kick it long. Looking for Vanu, who heads it down for Lewis. And he is through on goal. And he puts it just wide of the post. That is a Walkin Jones style finish. One-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he puts it wide. We have not been very good. We're in the 76th minute. We have done nothing. We don't have a shot. I don't think either team has a shot in the last 20 minutes. So it's been a terrible 20 minutes of football. Mikhail's going to come in for Miniconi because he's tired, which means he's going to get an injury if I don't take him off. Diop has had a very average game. Ferreira has had a very average game. I'm going to bring in Lesniak, give him a little bit of football, see if I can get his fitness back. He's probably the better player. He's probably the best deep line or defensive midfielder we have in this team, so I need him fit. They're really going for it. They're going to a 4-2-4. I don't need to be attacking right now. Whoops. Let's start time wasting. I'm not going to go full defensive. I'm just going to lower the tempo and lower the passing directness a little bit. That's all I'm going to change. Walkin Jones has an assist, but he still only has a 6.5. That shows you how bad of a performance he has put in. Alexander Douglas is tired. I'll take him off. Bring on Sal Quintero. I wanted to learn that right inside winger, inverted winger position a little bit more. He's okay at it, but he needs to get better. We've got 4 minutes left. Some fresh legs on the wings is only going to help. Hopefully we can see this game out. I would look like I was right about the 1-0 scoreline. Just we didn't create enough chances. Only 7 shots, 3 on target is not good enough. Laru with man of the match performance. I didn't see him do anything other than score that goal, but whatever. If he's man of the match, I'll take your word for it. Mesa Longus with another good performance. Arias played well. Sousa plays well almost every single game. He's probably our most consistent player right now. Miniconi's been a little bit inconsistent recently. He was our most consistent player for a while. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, but Sousa just seems to always play well. I'm really happy with the Sousa signing. He's actually declining right now. He was improving earlier, but he's looking like he's declining. His marking, I think, has gone down. I think it was at 14 for a little bit, and I think it's gone back down to 13. That's not ideal, but I think he'll be all right. I'm very happy with the signing of him. For as happy as I am with his signing, I'm equally unhappy with Walkin Jones. To get an assist and still only have a 6.4? Is that what it was? 6.5. That's not a good indication on you. I'm going to say that's a bit of a let-off. We weren't good enough. Had to step things up against better competition. Sunderland are a mid-table to bottom half of the table team, and they took us to the very end, made it. We did not win that comfortably at all. We're still quite a few points clear, 6 points clear of Charlton. Best goal difference in the league, so even though things have really kind of fallen off the rails recently, we're getting a lot of draws, a loss is in there. Shows transfer guile. Generally positive reaction to the gegenpress style. Plenty of optimism for the future. They liked selling Iniv and buying Paulo Sousa. I agree with that. How's he done? He's been very average. So he actually went to a Premier League. I didn't realize Brighton were still in the Premier League. Look at that. That's a good business. Buying him for 20, selling him for 35. He was absolutely awful for us last season, and he's done not a whole lot better in the Premier League for Brighton. So I think that was a pretty dang good sale for us. And Paulo Sousa has been a great signing. Let's look at some of our other sales. Transfer history. João Antonio, who we didn't have a hand in, but he was already set to go. He's actually played really well for Porto. But he's kind of old, I think. 32 years old, so I'm fine with getting that money for him. Even if he's a good player, he wouldn't have been a good player for much longer. So to get $46 million is a steal. Isaac Adji, he played it all for Sassuolo. Made 11 appearances. He's actually played really well. Maybe that's a man we shouldn't have missed out on. I didn't think he looked that special. 11 off the ball, 12 passing, 13 vision, 9 finishing. He's got 14 crossing, so he would have been like the best crosser at the team, but his physicals are good without being exceptional. He's a decent player at 24, but I guess he's playing better than his ratings say, because 2 goals, 5 assists is pretty dang good for 11 appearances. And 11 of them? Oh, they're all starts, so he is starting quite a few games for Sassuolo. Maybe that's a little bit of FOMO, but Liam Thompson, again, I didn't have a hand in that one. He was already going. He hasn't played very well, so that's a fine sale. Alaf, I don't really care about these guys. These are just all bit part players that weren't ever going to play in the team, so I don't really care. Luckily, we only spent $11 million on Watkins Jones, so he's valued at 25. So if we need to sell him, we can probably get our money back at least, if not a profit. In terms of next episode, I think I'm going to come back for a derby against Tranmere. I'm going to play probably QPR and Tranmere. Tranmere are not doing very well in the league, but they are one of our rivals. They are one of our local rivals, so we probably not going to have a whole lot of opportunities to play them if we get promoted, which we should be getting promoted. But if we get promoted, Tranmere obviously might get relegated, so this might be our last opportunity to get to play them this season. I think they're also our last game of the season, so we might not be able to show that game. So we're definitely going to show this game, QPR and Tranmere. We've already shown Blackburn once, so no need to show them again. So I'll see you next time for QPR Tranmere. If you've made it this far, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. Links to all my socials are also in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time.